days, not concurrent days. What processes do you have to go back to the person who's applied just to say, hey, we haven't forgotten you, or is it because they haven't given us the information, or who's at fault for the delay, us or them?
There's a number of different ways of answering that one. First of all, we will be in contact with all of those people who have been waiting 26 days, and the reason why they're waiting 26 days in the majority of cases is because we've had to ask for additional information.
Right,
and
okay.
I guess one of the things we are seeing is that for some segments of our customer base, the quality of the applications has been challenged, probably due to the difficulties they've had retaining and gaining competent staff. So it's a common problem.
It could be argued then that the delay actually is positive, because you need all the information. I mean, it's not, but you know, you'd rather delay and have all the information and do it properly than not have the information. So I think that you just got to be very careful how you promote that figure. It comes up as a negative, but it's just how you know.
So the nirvana for us is to have a building system where everybody collaborates together, recognising their part in the end outcome, a compliant building, and they know exactly what they need to provide. So one of the things about consenting made easy is that it's founded on the principle that everyone wants to do it right, and that if we can provide more information to people and more feedback to them up front, and encourage the people to see real benefits, competitive advantage in actually putting their own QA systems in place, training their people really well, you know, the system will work. And that's I guess what we're aiming for. So when your question was whose fault is it, part of it's our fault because as yet we haven't created or enabled that system to work as well as it should.
Councillor Walker.
Sure. Since the introduction of Nucor in the parts of the region where that's applied to consents, has the time taken for processing the consent increased overall?
It increased initially, and we would normally expect that because it's a different system. You know, there's some attributes about it that are different. But now the staff are getting back, and it's getting embedded. It's pretty much the same. In some areas, for some activities, it's faster. In some areas, it's a little bit slower. Overall, it'll be faster. Yeah.
And what's the level of satisfaction like amongst the staff with the
Nucor
introduction?
I think the level of satisfaction is good. I mean, there's some people who have struggled through the initial rollout process, but certainly the feedback I've had back from staff now is they're getting used to it. It's working well for them. They appreciate the things that it does faster, and that's what we normally expect.
And given that the rollout's going elsewhere in the region, people elsewhere in the region getting training in those areas where the rollout has occurred, so we can have a smoother transition?
Yes. So one of the challenges for us has been around how do we deal with some of the data issues we had with some of the old systems, and that's been a challenge. So we've been putting a lot of work anyway into the central staff delivery. We've been putting even more in now, so we've thrown more resource in there. Certainly, we're in a great position because it's unusual to be in a situation where you do a rollout of a system and then you get a chance to actually then roll it out again. So you actually can capture all those learnings from the first rollout and then apply it to the second. I've certainly never been in this position, and we're certainly looking to take advantage of that.
So the upshot is the overall cost of processing the same? Much the same?
I couldn't say. I mean, I guess one of the things is that with the speed which we're able to process the new consents, which are new in pathway, my understanding would be they'll end up being faster. And certainly with the initiatives with consenting made easy as well, the cost to customers will reduce because it's based on ours. Yeah.
You, Councillor Lee, and then I have Councillor Sayers and Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This particular item is really core business of the Finance and Performance Committee, and it's a pity that we've had to wait to fairly late in the meeting to deal with it. But anyway, given the importance of this item for the terms of reference for the whole committee, I'm concerned that the information we get is objective and as unvarnished as possible. And while I note that love food, hate waste gets referred to in identical terms 3 times in the report and once in the handout, that is well and good, but I think it's a wee bit off the subject in terms of the council's finances and the council's performance. So I have a question, and it relates to the Albany pool, because again,
Hold on, Mr. Chairman, excuse me.
that's highlighted.
There is a question coming up.
Sorry?
No, I'm just responding over here. Keep going, Councillor Lee.
Okay. This is a highlight, we're told. Now, the members need the best possible advice to make good decisions for the council and for the public. This is a finance committee, and this Albany pool has been subject to major cost blowouts, so much so that it's under review. I would have liked to have a little bit of balance about, instead of just splash pads for young and old. Don't you think that's a fair point?
Yeah, look, I mean, a relatively short response through the chair, if I can. Yeah, as you have stated, there is a review's been requested of that project by the Strategic Procurement Committee, and they'll be looking at the detailed timelines and information and when things are known, costings and things. Look, what we don't do here is present every individual project that's actually undertaken. If there are requests, we can always do that. The structure of this report, as you'll see, it's been the standard structure for a while now, is ultimately what are we trying to achieve as outcomes, and here are some examples of what we actually delivered to our communities. What are the metrics that actually portray how the outputs have been done, so how we're actually delivering within timeframes, and then financials are the means to the ends. We're spending dollars to achieve the outcomes. That's the structure of the report in front of you. And this is a very, very high-level summary. It's actually picking out a few highlights. It's expressing what some of the successful achievements are in the community. Separate to that is if there are questions around the actual timing, costings versus budget behind that, we can definitely look into those. But what we don't do is try and cover every project in this report.
Okay, I'm going to move on. I think I've made my point. There are so many things to talk about, and it's fairly late in the meeting, so I'm not going to hold the meeting up. I'm not going to talk about FTEs, and I'm not going to talk about libraries, but I will at a future date, nor will I talk about the sell down of the diversified assets. But I want to question in regard to performance, and that relates to something that is very, very germane and very much a concern to this organisation right now, and that's Auckland Council stormwater compliance. And I look down at that and I see a big tick, and all the while we are aware, because of the debate going on between the council and Watercare, of 2.2 million cubic litres of diluted sewage going into the harbour. And what I've got to see here is abatement notices 0, infringement notices 0, enforcement orders 0, successful prosecution 0, all good, but not, is it? This is a serious problem, and we are misleading the public, but worse, as decision makers, we are knowingly misleading ourselves. We need good information about our performance, and the fact that the network discharge consent is being breached every week, and that the wastewater bylaw is being breached is one thing, but to put out a report with ticks to imply everything is good is not good enough. So I'll leave it at that.
Had a ticking off.
Good question.
No questions, so we have Councillor Sayers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question's just around perhaps the last chart there about the customer satisfaction rating that we're seeing there. And I think you've done well in terms of explaining the initiatives you have underway to try and improve that, and so thank you for that. So, look, I just noticed that the target's at 60%, projected at 60%. What's the goal, and when do you think we might see a change in that trend?
So a lot of the things that will make a big difference there sit with consenting made easy.
Ian, can you speak into the one in
Sorry,
front of you?
a lot of the things that will make a big difference to that are around consenting made easy. So that will start to have an effect, I would imagine, in the next couple of months. Well, actually, realistically, probably 3 or 4 months. I've had some experience over the years with survey instruments, and this one is a really good one, I might say. This one got rolled out probably about 4 months ago, and it samples people electronically or digitally at various stages of our process, critical stages, and it's actually got a really good response rate. It's about, I think, 30%. So whilst, you'd often like a higher response rate than that, I mean, that's really good for this type of survey. So unfortunately, we really probably are as bad as that. So consenting made easy with those different processes that are being rolled out will actually make a big difference, simply because we'll be rewarding the people who are actually making the investment in quality, investing in making use of the educational information that we'll be putting on the website as early as March. And so the satisfaction level from those folk will go right up. We'll be turning those consents around significantly faster because, again, we'll be getting better quality applications. And I honestly think that'll make a significant difference to that. That'll give us more time to help the sector of customers that we have who struggle more, and we can give them more help.
So Ian, just to clarify my second half of that question, then, in terms of your personal target as the manager for the area, are you wanting a lift to 80%?
I would definitely want to lift to 80%. I think 60% is definitely too low. Mind you, we still haven't managed to achieve it, so I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Casey.
My questions all relate to the call centre, but I'm not sure if there's somebody here that can answer them.
I know, we'll just finish on building,
Oh, we're still on
building
Come back to
control,
me then.
and then Ian can step down. So we have Councillor Collins.
Oh, no, I'm similar.
Councillor Walker, you want to talk?
My
Another
question was just following on from Mike Lee's. Is that appropriate now?
Well, if there's a question, yes.
Okay. Mike raised the issue around stormwater. Having said that, the deficiency in the reporting here is when there's an issue in stormwater, the problem manifests itself through sewage overflows, because the stormwater is flowing into the sewage, and that gets reported to us by Watercare. My concern is that we've got something here that's not really joined up and doesn't reflect the nature of the problem. The other matter that I note across a number of performance measures is what it's not telling us is that the level of monitoring we're doing across a number of things, certainly in the environmental area, is progressively reducing. We're not spending so much money monitoring, so it's no wonder that some of our results may be giving us a result that may not be accurate. I know that to be the case.
So, question.
So my question is certainly around stormwater, the need to tie stormwater in with water, with sewage, for example, so that we've got an accurate idea.
Right, thank you, Ian. You can step down and we can keep going. Rocking and rolling. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, we do have one. Sorry, I take that back. Councillor Newman.
Mr. Chair, isn't the issue here with respect to the overflows that Councillor Lee is talking about?
Can I just pull you up there? I think that question should be raised at the Environment Committee. That is a question.
It was actually relating to the consents that have been issued. Can I just finish my question?
Go ahead.
is there an issue here in terms of the consents that are being issued, that we are issuing for building works, that the consents themselves don't sufficiently address the mechanisms for abatement that trigger